Hey guys, welcome to another code along. What we're going to do today is we're going to continue to build on top of our ship builder or ship shooter game. Right now, where we stand, we have a really basic shooter happening, right? Where we have this little ship and the ship flies around the screen, right? Like this. And we can kind of just fly around and we can shoot some bullets. So we can kind of shoot some laser beams out there and they all fly out. Very basic, but expressing a lot of core ideas in software development. So what I'd like to do today is there's a couple of things that are happening with this ship that are really kind of undesirable. Like if we hit the left key and we just let go, the ship just keeps going, right? If we hit any directional, the ship keeps going. So the first thing I want to do is I want to refactor our code. When I say refactor, that usually means changing the structure of the code a bit, moving around different lines. Really, in a lot of cases, achieving the same result or a slightly different result. So in this case, our goal is to get it so that when we hit a arrow key and we let go of that arrow key, the ship actually stops moving. So let's go to our code. And we have our setup in our draw function, which is our typical P5.js functionality. One thing that we're doing here, though, we're in the draw function, we're saying ship.draw, and then below it, we're doing all these conditional statements to see how we should move the ship. Now, a lot of this code would probably be better suited if it was inside the ship itself. Because remember, when we're talking about object-oriented programming, or really just programming in general, you want to try to encapsulate as much of the functionality in kind of a logical way as you can. So when we talk about a ship, we really want that ship to be able to achieve everything that we'd want a ship to achieve. Right now, a ship, if we look at the actual class for a ship down here, we do have the ability to draw a ship, right? A ship knows how to draw itself, and a ship knows how to fire, right? So it knows how to fire, but it doesn't actually know how to move yet. Right? We kind of outsource the movement of the ship to its user, which in this case is the draw function. Why don't we go ahead and let's embed the movement of the ship within the ship itself, which would make it more of a compact object for us that contains more functionality. So it should be pretty simple. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take from this conditional here where we're checking if the key is pressed all the way down to the end of this conditional. I'm going to cut this. So Control X will cut that code, right? Now our draw function is nicely compact. I'm going to go down into our ship function, our ship class, I should say, and we're going to create a new method or function here, and we're going to call it update, right? So we're going to have a draw method and an update method. So I'm going to go ahead and type update. I'm going to open my curlies, close my curlies, and now within those curlies, I'm going to go ahead and paste in those conditionals, right? So now we have the conditional in here. Now what we want to do is, for some reason, this if key is pressed equal true is always returning true after we actually press a key and release it. So it's almost like it's saying, hey, yes, a key was pressed at some time, so I'm going to continue to return true. Quite honestly, either I'm misinterpreting how P5.js, that this variable works. I have some older code that it didn't work this way, so I'm a little confused. Maybe it is actually a bug in P5.js, or I'm just misunderstanding it. But in either case, we can refactor this code so that it will function how we desire. So what we're going to do is, I'm just going to indent the code here. Remember that indentation is really important when we're reading this code. So what we're going to do is, we're going to actually remove this if key is pressed. So I'm just going to comment this out. I'm going to go here, comment this out, and I'm going to comment out this closing curly right here. So now we're just looking at these key codes. What I'm going to do is, and we did it up here, I'm going to use this if key is down function. So I'm going to say key is down. So I'm going to say if, instead of key code, key is down, left arrow. Then we're going to move the ship X position by 3. Now, what is different here? Now we moved all of this code within the ship itself. So think about this for a sec. Should this be ship.x? We're talking about ourself. So when we're talking about ourself, we use a little different syntax here, right? We use this. We use this. We use the this declaration, which is basically saying, hey, I'm talking about an internal property of myself, right? If I point to my eye, I'm going to say this eye, right? If I point to your eye, I'm going to say your eye. That's not my eye or my ear or my fingers. This is my finger, right? This is my eye. So when we're talking about the position of this ship, we're not going to say ship dot. We're going to be talking about ourselves. So I'm going to say this dot, right? And so we're just going to do that for each one of these. If key is down, right arrow. Now watch your close parentheses with this stuff because you're could get entangled in missing in close parentheses. So I'm going to do it again here. Key is down. Got those two close right here. I'm going to say this. And I'm going to do the same thing right here. And then we'll make this. Now, once this is complete, I'm using the word this a lot now. This. Once this part is complete, now we have a method here, or a function called update that lives within our ship class that's describing functionality of the ship. So now as ship, when we talk about this as a blueprint, right? We keep going back to that blueprint analogy of a class. We're describing some physical thing or something that we're trying to actually describe within code. The ship now has the ability to draw. It now has the ability to update. And it has the ability to fire, right? And of course we have our constructor up here. So it knows how to build itself, right? So the constructor enables us to build a ship. And then all of these functions down here allow us to describe certain functionality of that ship. In this case, now we're going to be allowing ourselves to move around the ship. So will this actually do anything right now? If I go and run this in its current state, right, with the draw function like this, is anything going to happen? Let's see. So I'm going to go to our application. I'm going to refresh that bad boy. Now I'm going to try to move this guy. He is not moving. I'm going to try to fire him. He does fire, but he doesn't move. Why doesn't he move? What do we have to do here in the draw function to get him to move or her to move? Think about it for a second. We now moved all of those conditional statements to an update method. What do we do for functions and methods to get them to run? We have to call upon them, right? Just like picking up the phone call and calling your friend's not going to just know you're talking to them. You have to call them, right? In order for us to execute all of that code we just moved, we actually have to call upon it and say, hey, I want you to run. So what we're going to do here is right before the draw, I'm going to say ship.update. So now every time the draw function is called, we're going to call these two methods on this ship object. We're going to call update, which is going to test whether or not the user is hitting a key. And then we're going to call draw to draw it at its new position in space. So let's see how that works. I'm going to refresh that. And now, boom. Now I'm hitting left. I let go and it stops. If I hit down, I let go and it stops. There we go. So now the ship is moving around and it will stop when we tell it to. Excellent. Okay, excellent, good stuff. Now, let's keep going with this. Now we have the ship stopping. Now, actually, I'll do this in a separate video. In the next video, we're going to create enemies. So we're going to go out and create enemies. Now, our enemies are going to be pretty basic. It's going to be a pretty basic enemy structure. They're going to be little tiny squares that'll fly down on the screen. And then we're going to do a little collision detection to detect whether or not we actually hit those enemies or not. All right, so I'll see you in the next video.